And what's going on, everybody? Welcome back once again to the Crew First Culture Podcast. This is Jeremy again, and I want to, like always, say thank you very much for spending some time with me today. So today's going to be a little bit of a mix of kind of something that's on my mind and some some upcoming things, I guess. Uh, I've been saying for a while I want to get back into doing some episodes with guests, more importantly with friends and people that I truly respect as far as just their who they are, the story they lived, and just let them tell some of that. So I'm really excited to, I guess we can just go ahead and start with that since I'm there already. But I will be recording with one of my really good friends, Nathan Gardner, on Monday. So here, just a little less than a week. We both been really excited about that, looking forward to that. He's better known as Tuna by probably everybody that knows him, but somebody that has got a an amazing story, a crazy story, and just really looking forward to giving him a platform to kind of tell it. And of course, he's one of the most entertaining people that I know and that I'm friends with, and so it's gonna be a great one, maybe a great couple, just because it might be a long one. Also, another episode that, man, I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to this one. I've been trying to work out schedules to get this one on for quite a while now. But if you hopefully you listen to the episode that I did with Olivia and Eric of Yoga for First Responders. So they are the ones that operate that company, and man, that's two super smart people, especially when it comes to the world of mental mastery and resiliency and just anything to do with the body and the mind. They're crazy smart, and so I reached out to them several months back, just shooting them out the idea of an episode just about breathing. I mean, just digging into different breathing techniques and why and where we should use each of these techniques, and just really get into the weeds of that. If you don't know anything about breathing, it probably sounds like the stupidest thing you've ever heard of. But I promise you, I promise you, when we get together and do this episode, I, I hope everybody in the world hears it, because everybody needs to hear it. So really excited about that episode with those two. Also, not my podcast, but um another thing that I'm really excited about is I'll be joining Rick George and John Spera on the Fit for Fire podcast. Sorry, went blank for their first second. Fit for Fire podcast. I believe that we'll be getting together on the 22nd. So here in a couple weeks, and I don't know as far as timing of that'll be released, but something else that I'm really excited about. And so go ahead and kind of look forward to that as well. But I'm just, I, I've had several conversations here lately with people, and, you know, I, I, I don't, it's not that I don't like having any and everybody on as a guest. It's not like I view myself or, the people that I do have on as anything better than somebody that I might kind of shy away from. But it's just I am at the point now in this journey that you know I don't I don't really care for the baseless and surface level chit chat. I don't really care for the pitching of products and advertising and things like that unless it's something I truly 100% believe in and use myself. I just don't I don't I don't have it in me to do that. I just have no interest in that stuff. There's lots of great podcasts out there, but I feel like a lot of the times I tune into some of them and it's just kind of, people talking about surface stuff and things that aren't really feeding me. And I'm not gonna take away from anybody else out there doing their thing. I promise you, I am more than happy to support anybody out there that is putting out content that at least I can agree with and be on board with. But I want to be fed, and I know there are a lot of people out there that are on that same thinking, that same level, that same they have that same desire of their time is valuable. And so if they are listening to something, they want to get something out of it, not just the latest ideas of this person that's wrote 7 books and what's next and how successful they are. And man, I'm telling you right now, I love these bigger name people, the people that you get on YouTube. And now I guess just because of the how jacked up I have the algorithms in YouTube, I can't hardly find anything else outside of, the realm of probably 10 people. It's the big names, it's the people that are yelling intensity and motivation and all that stuff. And it's great. And I have times where I need a little bit of that, not near as much as I used to. But now all of that just kind of it's just like whatever. I don't want to hear about how successful you are now. I I do want to hear about where you came from. That's always the case. It seems like they talk about where they've been and how they've had to sleep in cars and on streets, and now they've got their own private jets and blah blah blah, and that's where they lose me. I don't care. I don't care to hear about your success. And it's not that I want to hear about your failures. I want to hear about your life. And to me, basically, doing the whole air quote, the humble brag about where you are now compared to where you were, that's all great. But I can only take so much of hearing somebody talk about how this is what you got to do to be successful, and and you got to be able to grind, and it's the rise and grind. And I've been this is something that's been on my mind for a while, and I wouldn't even plan on talking about this, but the saying rise and grind is now something that just crawls all over me in a wrong way. I can't stand it. On one hand, I do get it. Those people that use that term and that are at the level that they're at, they absolutely live it. They absolutely live that life. They have become who they are. They have achieved what success they have achieved because of that rise and grind mindset. They get 3 hours of sleep at night. They get up in the morning and they are hustling and grinding out until it's 3 in the morning or midnight or whatever that night, so they can get a couple more hours and to do it again. And that's you know I don't care. That's great. That's great for them. That's great that they are achieving what they want to achieve. But what is the cost? What is the cost of that rise and grind mindset? That's what I want to look at. That's what I want to think about. Because yeah, I would love to have some extra money. I would love to be able to be debt free and to take trips whenever and wherever with my family that we want to. I would love to, you know, have some of the things that some of these people go on and on about. But then reality kicks in, and the realistic me starts speaking up and starts saying, hey, those are all great things, and yeah, they are achievable. Really, I believe they're achievable for anybody that's willing to do what those people have done for it. But are you willing to pay the price that they have paid for those things? Because those things didn't come free, I promise you. And I'm not talking about actual monetary amounts right now. I'm talking about the price that their family has paid. I'm talking about the price that they have paid physically and mentally to get to where they're at. And again, I'm not downing anybody. If that's what you want to achieve, if that's what you feel like has to happen for you to be a whole healthy person and to be able to just be comfortable with yourself, okay, I'm not you. I don't need to worry about it. It's not my business. But what cost are you paying for that? You know, if you want to bring it down to a more realistic kind of level, because the people I've talked about so far are they're the one percenters in the world. The top 5 or 10 motivational speakers in the world. That type of people, which obviously there's not very many of them, right? So bringing it back to uh, more of a realistic or more of an area that we can absorb better or just understand better is just in the fire service. If you are a career firefighter, chances are, depending on your schedule, you're already gone 1/3 of the lives of your family members. 1/3. It was quite a while into my career that one of the older guys, I don't know if he was talking to me. I might have just been around him when he was talking. But he stated that if you're on a fire department for 12 years, that means that there is 4 years of that 12 that you have missed. You've missed 4 years worth of a 12-year-old's life, basically. If you have a 12-year-old and he was born when you were in the fire service, 1/3 or 4 years of his life you completely missed. And man, that was the first time it ever really sunk in that I really heard it like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, that it's crazy to think about it like that. But I mean, that's the truth. That's the way it is. So we're already missing that. So just a firefighter that wants to go to work and comes home and does the family thing when he's off, that's where you start. That's the baseline. But then you got, you know, so many other things trying to pull at us. And I know a lot of people aren't doing the same things that I'm doing, but I'm just going to use myself as an example because it's who I am. I know my details pretty easy. So, you know, I'm trying to do throughout, just back and forth. I know I'm not really into some of these things all the time. Some of the times I take a break, but just for the sake of argument, I'm trying to start a social media presence. Okay, well, so that's going to take some time out of my remaining 2/3 for sure. Maybe not much, depending on how involved I want to get into it, but it's going to take some time. I am somebody that wants to be a part of outside trainings and instructing at conferences and speaking at conferences. Well, that's obviously going to cut into that 2/3 at home for sure, because there's going to be times that I've got to go away from them to do that, to be a part of that. And you can't just jump into those things. You have to work yourself into it. It's a process. Nobody wants to, bring somebody on that they don't know anything about. You got to build up your reputation and get out there, and people have to see what you're capable of and what you have to offer. So it just, okay, you're eating away, you're eating away, you're eating away. So here comes the podcast, wanting to do a podcast, which is great. I have people reaching out to me all the time that are thinking about starting a new podcast. And I've never tried to talk any of them out of it. If you have a message that you have been given that needs to be shared, and you are wanting to be authentic to who you are and who you are made to be, and you feel like it's part of possibly the purpose that you're here and created for, then yeah, absolutely. Give it a try and see where it'll go. But here we are again. That's just something else eating away and eating away and eating away. And so even me, I would say that I am not even close to somebody that could say I live by a rise and grind mindset, or just that's my perspective on how I want to live my life. But even as somebody that isn't that way, gosh, I don't have any time for anything already. It's all gone. And so that to me really shows me what what is this costing me? And I'm not saying that nothing is worth that time. There are things that are going to be worth spending that time away, that are going to be worth spending a little bit extra time that could have been spent at home. There's also times that we can bring our families with us and do things together as a family and still do some of these other things. And so there's other options, and it's just it's just something that's been on my mind for quite a while. And like I said, I wouldn't really even plan on talking about it today, but it kind of flowed out of me, and so that's going to be the topic. What is the true cost of rise and grind? And if that's the way you want to live your life, that's great. But are you willing to look back on life 10, 20, 30 years down the road, 30 years of that rise and grind mentality and lifestyle? Are you willing to look back and to honestly evaluate what it cost you to gain whatever you gain from it? Because again, you know, when I say cost, I don't even it's not like I have money to blow anywhere, but I'm not even concerned about money. If I can't afford it, I can't afford it. Whatever. That's fine. The stuff that I get truly concerned about when I'm talking about the cost of things is the time away from my family, is the relationship that is going to suffer because I'm not there. It's the sporting events that I'm missing because I'm not there. It's the the birthdays, the anniversaries, the special events, the school activities, all of these things. That's the cost that I'm afraid one day I'm going to I'm going to wish that I didn't pay. that's where we find ourselves. We don't get to choose our current options and our current events of our life from what it's going to look like 20 years from now, because we don't know. We can guess and we can do the best we can, but really it just comes down to seeing what's in front of us, taking an honest look at what it's truly going to cost, and making the best decision as far as, is it worth that cost? So it's just weird that, things, that's why I do this podcast. And that's another question I've been asked a bunch. Why do you do it? What do you get out of it? Things like that. And it has nothing to do with me getting anything out of this. I i get out of it when people reach out and tell me that something spoke to them, or that reach out to me and say, hey, you know I like what you do. I enjoy, listening, or whatever. I feel like I want to start something. What do I need to know? Those are the things that I really get out of it. But I hope what I'm putting in, that's what I'm more concerned about. I hope that what I'm putting in is adding value to your life. I say this all the time. That's the main goal. It's the main reason I do this stuff. And so hopefully something that I rambled out today maybe spoke to you a little bit, maybe brought some thoughts to the front of your mind that you haven't thought about, or maybe haven't thought about in that perspective. So I want to leave you at that, just because I'm very rambly right now, and I don't want to make it any worse. But I really appreciate your time. I thank you so much. I just want to leave you with this challenge. When things come up, it's such a balancing act to not ignore and turn down every opportunity, because we don't want to do that either. A lot of the opportunities we're given are because God has placed them in our lives. He's placing these opportunities in our lives because they are going to lead us on the path to fulfill our purpose that He has placed us here for. So we're definitely not wanting to just fall into the mindset, well, I don't want to spend any time away from my family, so I'm just going to say no to everything. That's not what I'm trying to come across as either. It's the balance that we have to find. It's the figuring out the cost versus the benefit of it. And a lot of the times that benefit has nothing to do with what it's benefiting us. It's the benefit that we are going to be able to give others by doing that and by taking advantage of that opportunity. So that's the challenge. When you are faced with opportunities or choices, don't just jump at it. Sometimes it's easy to do because I'm as bad as anybody. I want to take advantage of every opportunity that I'm given, because I don't want to miss a chance to see where this next opportunity will lead, because I've seen so many unbelievable blessings and paths and doors opened because of just taking small opportunities here and there. So it's hard for me to pass up those opportunities. But the next time you see or have an opportunity, just take a little bit of time and weigh it against what it's going to cost. That's it. I'm not trying to steer you in any direction. I just want to challenge you to be thoughtful in those decision making times. and I'm going to challenge myself as well because I need to do better in that as well. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I look forward every time to get back on here. I really, really look forward to sharing a couple of really good episodes with you all here in the near future. And until then, stay safe. And as always, stay humble and do work.